taking vows of silence is something that's very, very core to the Indian spiritual tradition, to the Vedic traditions. A lot of us think of silence as just an absence of noise. It's actually a presence of divinity. It's a presence of experienced bliss and peace and divine presence that we can't hear most of the time because there's too much noise. There's too much noise of our own voices. There's too much noise of our heads planning what we're going to say next. There's too much noise of the TVs we're listening to, noise of the conversations we're having. And so we can't actually drop into the truth. It also gives us an incredible teaching of how to grab the space between a thought and an action. How many people here have ever said something that you later regret? How does that happen? You think later, oh, that wasn't me. You said it. If it wasn't what you meant, why did you say it? Like, who was in charge of your brain at that moment that something you didn't mean managed to come out of your mouth? What silence gives us is a teaching and a practice of having a choice before we speak. Because what it teaches you, if you practice silence for long enough, even if it's just an hour a day, if you do it enough days in a row, is, oh wait, I actually have a choice. Those words were about to come out of my mouth, but then I remembered I was in silence. And so I stopped them. Which means I actually have much more control and consciousness than I utilize on a daily basis. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna speaks about the righteous speech, tapas of speech. And he says it needs to be three things. In order for something to be considered dharmic speech, it must be true, of course, but it must also be kind and beneficial. And also, does it improve upon the silence? So silence rejuvenates and recharges us on many, many, many levels. You allow yourself to really drop into it. You'll experience a fullness of the self that we don't usually get to experience because there's so much noise going on. We take the ruckus of our minds and we go out in search of peace. All we have to do is learn how to quiet the ruckus in our mind. That's what our spiritual practice is about. That's why we meditate. That's why we pray. That's why we do seva. So that the truth of who we are emerges into our consciousness. It's always been there, but that's why I say silence is actually full. It's full of peace. It's full of truth. It's full of divine connection. It's just absent of ruckus.